Okay, so this is to answer the questions about active, passive voice. How does the use of passive voice affect the meaning of these lines? Okay, for 19 through 22. And I want to show you that there is, on page 22, if you go to page 22 here, you'll see a little bit about active voice. If this doesn't make sense to you, I want you to read this down here. But the idea here is that if the voice of a verb tells whether the subject performs or receives the verb's action, if the subject performs the action, the verb is in the active voice. Okay, if the subject receives the action, the verb is in the passive voice. Okay, so in his writing, there's both, and so we're going to see if the main subject is being acted upon by something else. Think about it that way. The main subject, the thing that normally does the acting, is not actually doing the acting. It's actually something else acting upon it. So that's what we're going to look for and see if it's active or passive over here, and what's passive. So let's go up here to back to page, I think it was 5 here. And we're going to jump up there. And there we are. Okay, we're on lines. There it is. Okay. After they had enjoyed fair winds and weather for a season, they were encountered many times with cross winds, and met with many fierce storms, with which the ship was shroudly shaken, and her upper works made very leaky. And one of the main beams in the midships was bowed and cracked, which put them in some fear that the ship would not be able to perform the voyage. Okay. So it sounds like if you look at this, I actually highlighted the subjects, but in this first one's pretty normal. They had enjoyed fair winds. You can see the subject and verb. They had enjoyed. So nothing. They're enjoying it. The winds aren't enjoying it. They're enjoying it. So this is active. But then over here it says they were encountered many times with cross winds. It almost makes it sound like the cross winds encountered them. And then over here it says, and met with many fierce storms. Like they were met, the fierce storms came to them and met them, with which the ship was shroudly shaken. So the storm shook the ship, and her upper works made very leaky, and one of the main beams in the midships was bowed and cracked, which put them in some fear. So it's like the storm did, and the beams affected them. So it sounds like these are passive verbs, meaning that these are passive sentences that they're being acted upon by the objects of these sentences, the storm and some of these other things. It's almost like they're not in control. They're in the ocean, we know that, but almost like there's some kind of other force that's acting upon them, that they're victims of circumstance. And so this is what I wrote down. I just highlight that section. You can highlight the whole thing. And this is what I wrote down from my note. There are at least 6 passive verbs in the passage. This makes it sound as if the passengers are victims of elements, almost as if fate, nature, or God is against them. Almost a sense in which they're not the ones acting. And you're going to see that a lot in his writing, that there's a sense in which there's some other force, unknown force, that's in control here. So kind of a tough annotation. We're only going to do a couple more of those, but kind of look for that and see when the normal subjects aren't doing the acting. He'll do that sometimes. Go ahead and put a little save down there, save your notes. And what I want you to go ahead and do is go through these next ones. I want you to do numbers 4, 5, and 6, and we will pick up with number 7. I'll help you with that one, but you will need to do numbers 4, 5, and 6. Good job, English students. I'll be helping you in class. Thanks a lot.